What's up, guys? This is Void of Dust Gaming, and I just figured out that I am still having no Hayate video on my channel so far. And as I have received the Metallic Nightmare skin a couple of days before, I think the weekend is a good time to actually show you the new hero. For the people who haven't seen the hero, I'm going to talk briefly about his abilities and what I think is best as equipment for him, and you will see some gameplay. Don't expect anything fancy. This isn't one of those 20 kill videos. I have managed to kill a couple of heroes in this game, but this is mainly about gameplay, about how does he feel like. It's more some kind of, not like a guide, but more like an introduction video. So the pro Hayate players, you can just skip this video and watch something else. So Hayate for me doesn't feel like an ordinary AD carry, and this is because of his abilities and how his kit works together. Like, he's scaling on attack damage but also attack speed, which is quite special, I'd suppose. And after I've been reading a couple of things about him, I have just realized, or I've found, that he is the second hero who is able to strike critically on true damage. So I would say let's talk about his abilities first, and then I'm going to talk about what this critical damage on the true damage means and what true damage is, in particular if you haven't ever heard of this term before. So what does Hayate do? Let's talk about his passive. His passive is that you can see these small dragon things here, those small snake things that appear every time you hit something. So every time you hit an enemy, this bar is going to fill. So you have like a gauge or like a meter that's going to fill, and after the second time, the sixth time, so you have to hit an enemy 6 times, this thing is full, and after that you are going to attack everything for true damage. So what does true damage mean? Let's say you have an attack item where you get attack damage, such as the beast, gives you 100 attack, and you have an armor such as I don't know, like the sonic boots, where you get armor that is blocking attack damage in opposition to the ability damage that mages do. So there's a formula where you can actually kind of figure out how much damage are you going to do with all the attack stuff that you bring in. And after you have subtracted the amount of armor that the hero has, for example, with Arthur, he has a base armor which is pretty high, you will get the numbers, how much damage you actually do. True damage basically does the amount of damage that you would do regularly if you haven't subtracted any armor at all. So this is like the true, as the name says, that's like the true damage that a hero deals to another hero. That's true damage. And the crazy thing is, with every one of the stuff that you are throwing, the critical effect applies, as well as any effect of your weapons, such, let's say, the Blitz Blade. The Blitz Blade has a trigger effect. Every time you hit an enemy, you have the chance that it kind of blitzes enemies with a small lightning, and this effect does work on Hayate's stuff as well, and it also does that for his other abilities, such as your 1 and your 3. So you have this meter, that's the first thing. You have the true damage, which is able to critically do that. That's new. Other heroes haven't done that before. After Malak was like the only one before Hayate was released. And another special thing on his passive is that every shuriken that you throw, that's something that goes through an enemy, and it will deal less damage to an enemy standing behind it, and that is true for minions as well. That's 20% less up to 40%. So you are dealing 40% less damage, but you can actually hit AD carries standing behind tanks and stuff like that. That's something that his kit offers as well. So this is the passive. The one that you have been seeing me using quite a lot will be familiar to people who have played Kali, and it will cost 70 energy. The other abilities do that as well. So you have this little energy bar that is below your health bar. That number that was filling, and that was being a little bit smaller after I've used an ability. So the first, it's like a section of kunai, or the shuriken. Kunai is not a shuriken. Kunai is a little sword, like a dagger. That is being thrown in a direction straight away from you, like that. That was like the example. So every time you are using your wand, you are dealing damage in a straight line away from your facing that you have been putting into that skill, and you cannot change the direction of the kunai or the shuriken that has been thrown. So it is always this straight direction, but it's a really short time and it's really fast. And the thing is that it's like Kali's ability, but you are not standing still for about half a minute. It's just this 6 daggers, there you go. The special thing is that every time you are getting faster, in terms of you are dealing more damage faster, you are throwing more kunai. So let me check that. There isn't a number in the internet, but I think it's up to 9 kunai that you can actually throw. So try to stack attack speed, because every time your speed increases to a certain amount, you will deal more damage. That's the stuff for Hayate with his kunai. So this was the first ability. The second ability is a small dash, and it feels pretty much like a flicker. It goes through walls. It is a short duration, and it costs 70 energy as well. And the special thing about it is every time the first time you put something in, you will realize that there is a short or a small circle around you. And in that small circle, you will deal more damage, and you will deal that damage faster to enemies who are standing pretty close to you. It's a pretty close based skill, so you gotta be careful with that. And that is the second ability. There's not that much to it. It's nothing super special. It's just like you are dashing, and you will do more damage, and you will attack faster every time an enemy is in that circle, and that is your second ability. And now we come to your third ability, and your third ability is a bit tricky, and you have to be careful with your third ability, because when I was trying out Hayate at first, it kind of felt like weird, because it seems that the duration of that skill is pretty low, and you have seen me doing it right now completely imperfectly, and that's what I wanted to show you. So with your 3, you are teleporting to a direction, and when you are starting at that direction, you are beginning to kind of twist around, and with that twisting around, you will kind of whirlwind shurikens just around you. It's like a tornado consisting of shurikens, and the distance that these shuriken can travel is actually the circle that you have on your passive. So that's the indicator where you can actually throw these kunai. It costs 70 energy as well, as there is some kind of theme or something that Arena Valor Tencent had on this hero. And every time you move or you do something else while you are doing that, cancels this ability. So that's pretty stupid, and that's pretty much something that cancels your ability, and it's really stupid because you will do that in the beginning because you're not used to it. So every time you are unleashing that ability, you have to basically get your fingers away from your mobile phone, and after that you can just start playing normal again. That's the deal. That's the abilities. Yeah, I don't know what to tell now. Like, is there anything else? So yeah, okay. You have to keep 2 things in mind. First is main damage source are your shuriken, so you are dealing damage because of the stuff that you are throwing. And every time you are hitting an enemy 6 times your energy meter will fill up with 40 energy, which is more than half of the stuff that you need to use for abilities. So this is kind of like this is like another hero where you have to manage your passive in order to be successful. Wow, surprise! It's like that with all the heroes. So this is nothing really special, but it kind of feels like you are basically you are spamming out Shuriken. That's the stuff. You are a Shuriken machine, and you are just throwing around Shuriken, Shuriken, Shuriken. What you have to keep in mind is your positioning. So you have to be a little bit more careful about that than your normal ordinary hero, such as Violet, something like that, which has an autofocus and stuff like her roll. So you have to be careful with that and take your positioning to a really good level. You're super mobile because you have 2 abilities which are actually able to put you through walls. Even if you cancel your ultimate after you have been dashing through a wall, just in order to kind of get yourself away from the trouble, you will have 2 abilities. So if you put Flicker in, as I did, you will have 3 abilities which are able to get you out of the fights, which is quite neat. I think that's the most stuff that someone has in order to escape from all the heroes. So you're super mobile, so you can use your 2 to reposition yourself, you can use your 2 to enter fights, you can use your 2 to get out of fights. And equipment wise, I would rather go for something that enhances your attack speed. So in this build, I'm not really using that, so I would go for the Hand of the Devil and stuff like that. And on the other hand, I would take stuff that enhances my crit. And I think on most of the AD carries, Cleave Sancti is pretty much a no-brainer, so you're going to take that anyways. And I would say you can easily do something like, let's say, Omni Arms or something like that, or Fafnir's Talon, because they are getting you health as well as attack speed. So this should be something good. I think Bow of Slaughter is in there because you can easily replenish your health after you have been using your 1 or your 3. And even if you have been damaged, you will realize that you're going back to full health. What I feel about Hayate, and that is a common problem that AD carries have, and I would say that would be a reason why I would not take Bow of Slaughter afterwards, is that you're pretty much dead before you can actually replenish your health. So, I mean, if someone kills you, it doesn't matter if you would have had stuff back easily because you are dead anyways. Look at that, like Arthur has barely touched me and I'm almost dead. So this is something that you can basically change and use it as other stuff as well. So I would go more on the critical side. As you have seen, I have been doing 1.7k damage with just 1 shot, and this is pretty neat, especially for an AD carry. I think Muramasa is quite nice because you get the armor penetration. That's something that you have to use because otherwise you're not able to damage, because your shuriken do less damage after you hit someone after the first hit. So this is, I would say, another pick that you should consider if you want to play him well. And for Arcana, I would totally go with critical damage and critical chance, because that just makes everything so much nicer. As you have seen, I have used, not that it was not the best use of an ultimate, but I have used my 3 to get out of the fight with the butterfly. So she jumped on me and I got out and I got out again. So this was like the stuff that I wanted to do. This was pretty nice. Arthur was just standing there and he didn't have a chance to get by, so I was able to deal damage to him and the Crickneck just finished him off. So my verdict is, like, I think he's pretty strong. I have seen loads of players playing him and they have put him to another OPness level. So I would say he is pretty much OP at the moment because of 2 things. He's really, really mobile, and many players haven't figured out what to do against him, and I think that's normal for new players. I haven't seen him in the new meta in the Valor series, so I don't think that he is too strong, because otherwise he would have been banned all the time. I don't see that happening. I would just say he's quite new, so people are actually trying to figure out what to do against or with him. So we will see a lot of play testing, and afterwards, I think we can have a better picture and a better estimation on what he's able to do. I think at the moment he's quite powerful, and if you twist your build and your equipment to him, he can be quite devastating because you have many ways to reposition yourself, and I think that is always something that's helpful. If you think how slow Yorn is and how often Yorn dies just because he hasn't got any escape mechanism, that is something that you will never feel Hayate has. So he's a quite cool character on that. And so let's check out the equipment just for a short brief. And if you want to see more videos like that, don't forget to subscribe, people. Yeah, because I am finished quite soon. Let's check. Oh no, I haven't checked that. Okay, well, I'm out then. Bye.